Hey, Internets. It's Paul. It's Matt.
Down in Castle Rock.
Down in Castle Rock.
Down in Castle Rock.
Best theme song ever.
Yes.
Why haven't they done that on Castle Rock? But we're here to talk about, indeed,
maybe,
Castle Rock.
Yeah, maybe that's what he's hearing.
Oh, true. Can you hear it?
Down in
Can you hear it
Castle
now?
Rock.
Down in Castle Rock. What we're going to do today is talk about episodes 5 and 6. We're also going to do another video just to stay timely and actually do some theories for episode 10, which is going to be coming out this week.
He caught up.
I did catch up, so
He
now
caught
I'm
up.
kind of cheating. I can't really predict.
I wonder what's going to happen.
I have a feeling that maybe there's two Henrys. I did not know that prior to watching episode 9. Spoiler alert. Okay. So
Never watched this show.
Never ever watched.
Well,
this.
after you've ever watched everything.
Right. Yeah. Now that you've heard everything, you can now get that information. Okay. We're talking episodes 5 and 6. The Harvest and Filter are our 2 episodes. So what we're doing, this is a section, just so to catch you up in case you've already watched a bunch. Episode 5 starts with giant forest fire, and we have Henry. He's getting a neurological test after seeing all the events that happened in episode 4, which was when the Zalewski shot everybody in the prison. And it ends, episode 6 ends with Alan Pangborn returning to the homestead to find the kid outside bleeding. Makes a comment about, why'd you leave me inside that trunk all those years ago? And Alan Pangborn goes in the house. There's like a record skipping. Things are off and wrong.
Yeah.
And he's like calling out for Ruth. Ruth's not answering.
No.
Blackout. We know from episode 7 bad things are about to happen, but that don't happen yet.
No.
As far as we know, Alan Pangborn's great.
That's right.
He's
Everything's
fine.
happening.
He sees Ruth in the next room, and she's got him a sandwich.
Yeah, she's like, hey, let's go down to Texas or wherever.
Yeah, let's go check out that bridge first, and then we'll go to Sarasota. Okay. No. Okay, so let's talk about this. All right.
Sure. Here you go.
One of the interesting things I noticed right off, we've got this neurological testing done.
Yeah.
Not only to Henry, but also to the kid, and later to Ruth.
Oh, that's true.
They all have the similar tests. What I did notice on this episode specifically, or these 2, Kid and Henry are both asked to remember 5 words
Oh, yeah.
that they're said.
Yeah.
Both of them are given the word family, but not as the last word, like in the 3rd word or something. Both of them forget to mention it until the very end, and they both say family at the end. Which I think comes in play later. We'll come back for our theory video, but yeah. Anyway, so there's a parallel there. Also, the parallel of them both having the same test.
Preview. I have a theory that they're in families.
Yes, I think. Well, that's good. Okay, you have to prove this one to me, sir. I thought they were like spontaneous generation. Okay. So the prison lets the kid out after this massacre problem, and they've got a PR nightmare. They're like, just go away. So they let the kid out, and Henry is like, oh, okay, well, yes, I'll be there to take the kid in. He takes the kid in, tries to get him put into Juniper Hill, which is a Stephen King kind of a staple.
No, okay.
It's in like the asylum. It's kind of like Arkham Asylum in D.C. or something, where he uses it in It. He uses it in, I think, Needful Things. Anyway, he's got a list. It's just always there. It's like, oh, what do I need? Juniper Hill. Got it.
Okay.
So Juniper Hill. Well, he goes, and they're like, yeah, we can't take him till Monday. And so somehow Henry and Molly have the bright idea of leaving him on his own in a warehouse. Like, Molly's like, hey, I just bought that warehouse. I'm going to turn, I guess she's going to try to turn it into lofts. I don't know what she's going to do with it, but it's not lofts at the moment. It's not residential.
No.
It's just an empty warehouse. She blows up an air mattress, locks the door. So he's basically back in prison. He's in a new prison, basically, a prison of 1. But it's a guy They don't know his name. He barely talks.
True.
He's off enough that they took him to a mental institution to go, hey, we think something's wrong with this guy, and they give him tests and everything. So they realize this guy's not right.
Right.
And yet,
No.
they just leave him.
Just leave him.
He'll be fine over the weekend.
There you go.
Enjoy this concrete floor and no supervision. It just seemed like a horrible.
Well, I thought there was nice wood floors.
Were there wood floors?
I don't know.
Sorry, I thought it was concrete. If it was wood, then it's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, no. But just, I mean, they didn't supervise him at all. It just seemed like
they didn't.
Negligence.
Oh, so they're asking for it, is what you're saying.
Well, okay, which also goes into episode 6, which, again, it's just people being stupid. We'll just jump ahead for a second just for the sake of explaining this point. So Alan Pangborn finds the kid.
Yes, he does.
After horrible things have happened. Because they left him alone. Okay, fine. So finds the kid, brings him home.
Yes.
The kid's like, hey, I need you to go do this thing for me if you want to help Ruth. Meanwhile, I'll stay home alone with Ruth while you go out. And Alan, again, doesn't know this guy's name.
No, doesn't know him.
Only knows him as the evil thing that never aged that was in a trunk.
That's all.
Oh, it's just the devil. I'll leave the devil with Ruth alone while I go out for the day. And then when he comes back, horrible things have happened. It seems kind of foreseeable. Like, what do you... These people make bad choices.
Well, hold on a second. You just assuming that... I don't think that he sees him as the devil.
You don't?
No. Why would he leave him home with... Well,
okay! That's what I'm asking.
Well, I guess he's making a deal with the devil.
He's
so
making
it's
a
like,
deal with the devil.
if you do this thing, then I will help the woman
Which
that
is
you care
fine
about.
for
so
him.
So there you go.
But then you entrust the safety of your love interest with the devil while you go do the devil's bidding.
Well, come on now. You don't want to piss the devil off. Like, let me take you to jail.
I'm like, hey, devil, why don't we go on a road trip? I don't know. Like, you come with me. Wait a minute. You stay with the one person that matters most to me in the world alone while I go off and do this. This weird. I'm just saying.
Matt thinks he was asking for it.
I'm just saying. People were stupid about the kid. That's all. In my opinion. I'm not even saying that the kid's evil particularly. I don't think he is, as we learn later. But it's just... they made choices that, based on their knowledge of facts, seemed out of place to me.
Okay.
All right, that's all. All right, but be that as they may, stick the guy in the warehouse and then drive off. And he gets out.
Quote Matt, they have only themselves to blame.
The real devil is everyone else. Okay. So yeah, he wanders around town, and the one thing in particular we see is he walks into this. It's evening. He hears some sounds. It's animal crackers in my soup.
Oh yeah,
it tracks him. It's a little kid's birthday with the parents. And I thought at first it was just going to be one of these, like, they see him because he's wandering the house and they're like, get out of here. But no.
That was so crazy.
His presence just drives them insane.
Yes.
And we get the idea that maybe they just kill each other and you hear a baby crying at the end. And he's sitting on the roof. So, again, like, just being in proximity to him, which also kind of makes you think, the Zalewski killing everybody might have had something to do with being in proximity to, well, not necessarily fist bump, but being in proximity to the kid. Mm-hmm. He makes people, I don't want to say crazy, but maybe it's just...
or spontaneously generate cancer.
For instance. He's got a lot of powers. Also, the reason he's walking around, he gets put into Juniper Hill eventually, and then there's a giant fire and 14 people die.
Sure.
And he leaves Juniper Hill as well. So, yeah, he's, and it's interesting because these are in later episodes, but Henry Deaver gets kind of blamed for the same thing. Everywhere you go,
Well, I mean, at the start of the thing, they were basically saying, you're the cause of this terrible stuff. You killed your own father.
They called him, apparently in school, the Black Death.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Ouch. Yikes.
Because he's black.
Yeah. Oh,
See,
right.
there you go. Racist.
It was racist. I was known as
if they just called him
Stance.
Death, maybe it would have been
exactly.
all right.
They
But
had
no,
to
they
stick
had
a
to
little-
call him Black
Had
Death.
to throw it in there.
Yeah.
So they deserve what they get. All
They
right.
do. Yeah. The whole town's racist.
The whole town's racist, and they devil worshippers. Okay. So we do see Jackie Torrance talks about why she names herself Jackie Torrance.
Yes.
She's related. Her uncle is Jack Torrance.
Yes.
Her real name's Diane, but she took the name of Jack as a screw you to her parents.
Yeah.
And so she's connected to The Shining. There's a weird moment where she's laying on the air mattress, and the kid comes out naked. I guess there was a shower maybe nearby. I don't know.
See, it's not as bad as you say.
There was a shower there. What the hell?
Yeah, that's all you need.
And then we see
Shower
them
and concrete.
parked somewhere downtown. She's smoking something illicit,
Sure.
and it just seems like he's not, but he ends up standing up on a rooftop, and Molly has to go talk him down.
Yeah.
Molly and the kid seem to have a connection, that she is able to, or he knows more about her than she knows about him. Actually,
True. Yeah.
and this is also an episode where Molly, or it's either this one or 6. This group of episodes is where Molly admits to Henry that she killed Pastor Deaver.
Yes. Yes.
Like, yeah, I did it, but I was actually it was your hands the whole time. Like you were.
You hated him. You hated him.
Yeah, and he can't seem to remember that still.
No.
Anything that happened prior to the incident,
Right.
he seems pretty nebulous about.
Yeah.
I'm even questioning. There's a moment where he brings in his son. He brings his son up.
Yes.
During this 5 and 6.
Yes.
Wendell. They're estranged.
Yes.
He barely sees his son at all, but he's calling in his son because, at least seems to be the reason, is that Ruth, with her dementia, it's getting worse. He wants her to see the grandson and have a connection before she fades away. So Wendell is visiting, and there's a minute where Wendell starts asking the dad, like, "Hey, what were your parents like?"
Yep.
And he says, "Oh, your grandparents are my family, or my parents," and he doesn't say anything about his actual parents.
That's right.
So I'm wondering, does he remember them at all? And now he has a bad association with them, or because he says he was adopted at age 5 or something like that. So he was old enough to remember them.
Question.
If he does, and so like that, I think that question might have something to do with something. I don't know. Like, what is his background? Anyway. I did. Just on the Wendell thing, I heard an interesting thing on the Fat Man on Batman. Mark Bernardin is on that show with Kevin Smith. He's also a writer for Castle Rock. And Kevin Smith asked him, like, "Hey, what are some Easter eggs for the Castle Rock show?" And one of the things he threw out was, there's this Jackie Torrance. She's, named after Jack Torrance from The Shining. And then we threw in a character named Wendell, which is like the name. He's the male version then of Wendy, who was Jack's wife in The Shining. He's like, so if they have a relationship, like it wouldn't go well, because it would be like a parallel of The Shining. Now we haven't seen them have a relationship, and it would be weird if they did.
Yeah.
Because she's in her
20s,
mid-20s,
or towards the end, late 20s actually. Yeah.
And
the actress is anyway.
Oh, okay. And the character she's playing is at least in there. She's at a bar drinking and whatever. So she's
still over 21.
And then the kid is like high
Not
schooler.
over 21.
Yeah, he's probably, he's like, "Hey, I'm 15." Anyway, so it would be weird if they're actually moving toward them having a relationship.
But if she's like 25 and he's 15, that's 10 years. So once he's an adult.
Sure. Once he's an adult.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Like later.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if they time passed, they would have to recast.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right.
And then she could play closer to her own age.
Okay, so you're seriously like a season 2 thing, maybe.
Yeah, or
like
season
that,
3.
Like season 3 when they're older. But yeah, anyway, he threw that out there, and I thought, well,
13,
that's not something they've really.
I looked at IMDb, I didn't see an age there, so I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what he is.
I would guess he's 15, 16, somewhere in there. So just anyway, he threw that out there as like, Wendell's name is Wendell because it's a reference to Wendy being the wife of Jack Torrance. So there you go.
What's old is new again.
Yes, yes. So
I want her to be a dull girl.
that's right. I'm gonna write it down on the pad. So we've got the admission, I killed your dad, and obviously Henry doesn't take that well. Kind of storms off. But she does say something interesting there where he's like, were you with me in the woods? And she's like, well, yes, kind of. Like, I could feel your feelings. She said, I felt you afraid, and you were afraid, and then you were suddenly relieved.
Oh.
And she took that to be that was the moment that the dad got pushed off the cliff or whatever. But she doesn't know that for a fact. But she could just sense his state of mind. So he was suddenly relieved. Yay! Dad fell off a cliff. Yay! We still don't know. Even through episode 9, we don't know exactly why the dad fell off the cliff.
We don't know that.
That's still a thing. I almost wonder. I mean,
wait, are you theorizing?
Yeah.
Oh, are you doing that?
Okay, never mind. We'll talk about that in the theory thing.
See, now you got to watch another show.
All right, you got to watch another show. Sorry.
Tease.
I was about to.
Tease.
I was going to say it. I was going to give you that as a freebie.
No, wrong.
But no, okay. No, now you have to pay for it. Okay.
In time.
In time. The most valuable asset ever. Okay, so yeah, let's just say the kid sends Alan. Alan finds the kid wandering in the woods after burning down Juniper Hill and holds a gun on him. It's like, basically, you never aged. You're the devil. I had a time. I saw you in a trunk looking exactly like you do 27 years ago.
Yep.
I made the hard choice in my mind to let you go because the warden said let you go. But here you are, and you're obviously no older than that. We've all aged up. Right. You're weird.
Right.
Why shouldn't I just shoot you right now? And the kid says, I can help Ruth. In other words, I can give her mind back. And that stops Alan from shooting him. So the way that supposedly, at least the first step in getting Ruth her mind back is that Alan has to go and retrieve the squad car that has 2 important plot points to it. One being that's the trunk where the kid was held. Yeah. And 2, it's the car that Lacey committed suicide in. So Alan has to go. It's been in an impound lot, like junkyard outside of town.
Right.
He has to go. It's a day-long thing. Yeah. And he goes and he holds the junk dealer at gunpoint.
Initially, tried to bribe him, I think, but that didn't work. You're like, no, okay.
No, this is in for the mob or some guy's like, this is Fat Tony's car. And he's like, all right, fine. I'll have to shoot you for it. We assume he didn't shoot him for it.
Yes.
But you would think that would come back on you.
Well,
fine, please take the car.
Right.
911. Guy just held me at gunpoint and he took a car off my lot. I mean, wouldn't that happen?
So he's willing to sacrifice that.
Here's Can I write you a check?
Now I'll go.
Alan Pangborn. I live in Castle Rock.
So he's willing to sacrifice that. I'll go to jail and the car will be, and then Ruth will be happy. Yeah. So he's sacrificing his own freedom.
But we're still not exactly sure why. Kid says something about, and I'll make a monument or something. It'll make a monument. So he uses the word monument in relation to the car.
Right.
I don't know what that all means. I thought perhaps maybe the kid had left something like maybe one of his little carvings or something in the trunk for when he was captured.
You don't think perhaps it has something to do with the events of when he crossed over or something?
Yeah, it could. Yes.
In order to get back, I've got to do X, Y, and Z or something.
Thing with the car.
Maybe.
Maybe
Whoops, that's a theory.
Theory. Ah, damn it, we're back to theories.
Theorizing out of the air, though.
That's right. That didn't count. Okay. Anyway, but that's the thing. So, without knowing why he needs to do it, Alan goes to get this car.
Yes, he does.
And succeeds, I guess, in doing that. But when he returns, that's when bad things have happened. And, anyway, so we find out in episode 7 what that is. We're not talking about that right now.
We're not.
That's episode 6.
No.
Meanwhile, Henry.
Oh, yes, Henry.
Well, the kid finds some old video.
Yes.
Of Henry being led into the woods by the pastor. And he was just like, do you hear it? Do you hear the sound? Henry has tinnitus, or something like tinnitus in his right ear, which we get the idea the kid also hears things, because he mentions, you hear stuff. So anyway, there's a videotape. And so, of being led in the woods, Henry doesn't remember this, but he follows the videotape. So he's out in the woods with an old VHS projector, camcorder, until it runs out of power, which they do.
They do.
I can remember that fondly. Anyway,
out in the woods.
So he's out in the woods. There's a marker. We passed by here. Supposedly, you get the idea based on the video that the dad was trying to take him somewhere in the woods where he would hear sounds better. Well, sure enough, soon thereafter, it was getting kind of dark. Henry stumbles on these two guys who he's seen before.
Yes. Where did he see them?
He saw them at his father's second funeral.
Yes.
He saw them somewhere else as well, but they drive around in a creepy camper. Well, it's not a creepy camper, but it's just creepy that they keep driving around in it. And so they're out in the woods, and it's two of them. One is deaf, the other interprets for the deaf guy. There's also, notably, a hot poker that they threaten Henry with. So the deaf guy, his name is Odin Branch. Sounds very pagan kind of name. And he says, I knew your dad. We were part of, he didn't say this, but they're part of the same, nature cult, basically. It's like hey, God is nature. We would come out here so we could hear the sounds of the Skismo. So when we first learned about this thing called the Skismo, which is, it's the sound of nature trying to fix itself. That there are alternate realities, a multiverse of sorts, and when there's
discord between them,
they have to they basically are like grinding against each other or something to make a sound. It's like,
nails at a chalkboard.
I got tinnitus. That's what's okay. It sounds like the chalkboard problem, or when you've got a bolt loose on your tire, and it's like anyway. Okay. Anyway, it's important information plot-wise. We're learning, Henry's realizing, I have this hearing thing. He's describing it like a lot of people don't hear it. Some hear it as like tinnitus or sound in their ear, buzzing. But there's this sound, and if you can get enough stillness, you can hear the Skismo
better. Yeah.
And so we also find out he made himself deaf so he could hear the Skismo. That's what he's like. That's the level of crazy. Like, But he also claims...
Thought about, just like hanging yourself?
Or driving a car off a cliff with it attached to your head, and then your head falls off.
That's a decent option.
You can hear the Skismo better that way, without a head. So he's like, look, not for nothing, I've got the world's only filter.
Yeah.
It's a special device I've created that it's the only one in the world.
I'm a genius.
Your dad was working on it. I finished it.
You finished it.
It's a really sensitive device.
Yeah.
I've got it in my camper. To Henry's credit, he's like, I'm not getting in there.
Yeah. Well,
he gets talked into it.
Yeah, he does.
He's
initially skeptical.
Yeah. So
skeptical at a number of points.
So he's like,
that he
special filter.
Gets over.
Yeah. He goes into this booth, and they lock him in.
Yeah, what?
It's a soundproof room. It's got padding. It's a room with padding.
The only place in the world with padding.
I mean, it's like, other than every recording studio, I mean, this
is different.
There are literally hundreds of them within a long walk of this where we're talking right now. But no, it's the only one.
The only one.
It's the only one in a camper in the woods near Castle Rock.
Yes, there you go.
But
now you're talking.
Didn't seem much special other than it had the special acoustic padding.
Yeah, no.
Like, okay. But anyway, he gets in there, it's quiet, and he starts having like flashback type things, and he's seeing this. We're not sure at this moment. A little bit later we know, but we see these, we keep seeing shots of him like looking down at it. He's like, there's a cage and dirt, and he's playing with a car, and you're like, well, what's going on? So anyway, he's trapped overnight during the time when he could have been home helping Ruth deal with a crazy kid.
And his son, who he abandoned yet again.
Right, he abandoned his son again. I know. His son's pretty forgiving. Like,
he is.
Like, there are some times where the son's like, oh, you were gone again. But he never's like, and screw you, I never want to see you. He's always willing to be like, oh, I get it. You just had to leave for no reason. And you said, I had things to do. Okay, I love you, Dad. Like,
well, yeah.
I know. I mean, whatever. He's a nice kid. Let's put it that way.
He is a nice
He could be less forgiving.
He could.
Because if you think of it in those terms, it's like the dad's like, I know I've been away from you for years.
Cats
kind of
in
abandoned
the cradle
you,
in the silver spoon.
Yeah, right. He was definitely cats in the cradle guy. But I've decided it's time that we remember our family.
Yes.
And I'm glad you came down here so we can all be a family together in this time of your grandma's need. Just really heartwarming. I gotta go. Anyway, where were you, Dad? I can't tell you, but I had things to do all night. Okay, well, I'm glad you called me down here.
In that case, he was locked up.
He was locked up, but he didn't say.
No.
By the way, I was locked up.
No.
And he just said I had things to do.
Yeah, that's true. He had things to do.
Okay, thanks, Dad. No, I see how important I am to you.
Right.
So
there is 6, right? Or is that 6? Is it
that
6?
was in 6.
So that's it, right?
Yes, that is it. I think Ruth has a conversation with Wendell, which is kind of important.
Oh, that makes her run into the...
They're talking about the chess pieces.
Right.
And he's like, he's like, are you having a stroke?
Yeah.
Please don't be having a stroke right now. And she's like, if I tell you something, can you just keep your mouth shut?
Yeah.
And he's like, sure, why not? And so she tells him.
And that's the one where he tells her about, which was pretty cool, actually. He's like, hey, you're a time passer or whatever.
But I think that's in episode 7.
Oh.
But that's fine. It's fine. He calls her a time traveler, and they do the analogy to an augmented reality game.
Yeah.
It's like, look, you can see things that other people can't.
Yeah. But here she says, get lost, kid, get lost.
Right, she kicks him out.
Yeah.
Because she knows that bad things are happening with the kid.
Yes.
But she basically says, like, I used to be like on a linear walking through time, but then I got off like a conveyor belt in an airport. But I got off that, and now I'm flitting through time basically, and I use these chess pieces to let me know that I'm now and not in some memory. So she puts chess pieces around the house as reminders of specific memories, and then she can then go, oh, that's a memory, I'm not living it. Ta-da. Also, we should mention that the reason that all this happens, that Henry calls Wendell down and stuff, is because during there's a dedication of a bridge. They're going to dedicate it to Alan Pangborn.
Yep.
The Alan Pangborn Bridge. And during the dedication, this dog starts barking. Ruth's there for the dedication. Not a whole lot of people there. There's like 20 people there.
Yeah.
She's
Small
like,
town.
And what's weird to me is that no one sees her get up, walk over to the bridge, stand on the blend like she's going to jump, until suddenly Henry's like, well, look over there.
Yeah.
But she goes and jumps off the bridge. Henry jumps after her. I guess it's not that big a fall.
No, it's not.
So
You know that.
yeah. So it's not so bad. I mean, she's in the hospital later, but it's like, oh, she tried to hurt herself. We're not sure. Even now, we're not 100% sure why the dog barking. We can get to my theories, perhaps, but
theories.
Dog barking made her jump off.
Sure.
Thing, and then her son, to his credit, jumped in after her,
Sure.
saved her life.
Yeah, he's a good son.
We also do see that Alan, I think, legitimately loves Ruth. I think that is a love story.
Sure.
That it's not that because we're for a while there, Henry's not so sure about Alan. Like you're just exploiting my mom, but we know
right. And Alan says, hey. He needs to, do you want to move or should we go? Because he's starting to doubt himself.
He also mentions in this, one of these 2 episodes, he says, I bought a ring. In 91, I bought a ring.
Right.
And I was going to ask her to marry me, and she said, no, because then we'll be like, I think they trail off, but I think the idea is I'll be the woman that cheated on her husband and then married the sheriff.
Yeah.
So they didn't go that route. But he was that committed to the idea of like, I want to marry you, let's do this. Anyway, so there you go.
There you go.
Episodes 5 and 6.
5 and 6.
We're going to do a theory video.
Boopy doop.
And then 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 will also come eventually.
Yes. Yes.
Not today.
Yes. Not
probably.
today. No.
I'm already lost in the timeline.
Yeah.
I'm basically doing the same. I need a chess piece.
Ruth.
Where am I in the timeline?
Ruth, where are you
Is she dead yet? Is he dead? Who's dead? I can't tell. Okay. All right. Anyway, bye, everybody.